Welcome to Trump Breaking News Network, your daily source for up-to-date news on the political scene of Donald Trump, his presidency, American politics and conspiracies. Please subscribe to receive notice of our daily updates. Also share with your friends and your social media. We encourage you to like our videos and give your comments.
This is TBNN.
Natural News calls for Jeff Sessions to resign after the U.S. Attorney General declares war on legalized cannabis with so much lawbreaking by Hillary Clinton and members of former President Obama's inner circle that has severely harmed U.S. national security, while at the same time destroying the public's trust in our justice system. You'd think that Attorney General Jeff Sessions would have more than enough of a caseload to keep him and his prosecutors busy for years. You'd think that. But you'd be wrong. Instead of going after high crimes committed by public servants that put our republic in grave danger, Sessions is instead hyper-focused on pot. Now, it seems, Trump's AG believes marijuana poses a bigger threat to public law and order than, say, mishandling reams of classified information that can be used by our enemies to blackmail our officials, undermine our diplomatic efforts, and generally put all 323 million plus Americans in grave danger. Sessions has decided it's more important to go after states whose voters have given their approval to measures legalizing the recreational use of marijuana, just like decades ago voters persisted and got their federal lawmakers to repeal the constitutional amendment outlawing the sale and consumption of alcohol. As reported by the Associated Press, Sessions has lifted an Obama-era policy that prevented federal authorities from cracking down on the marijuana industry and trade in states where the drug has been made legal. Sessions says he'll now leave it up to individual federal prosecutors to decide what to do when state law conflicts with federal law, the latter of which still considers pot an illegal substance. More on that in a moment. In deciding which marijuana activities to prosecute under these laws with the department's finite resources, prosecutors should follow the well-established principles that govern all federal prosecutions, including the seriousness of a crime and its impact on the community, Sessions wrote to prosecutors in a one-page memo. Sessions' decision comes just 3 days after pot was legalized in California, which of course is at odds with the Justice Department and the Trump administration's efforts to curb illegal immigration and deport those in the country who broke the law to enter. Related, as California legalizes pot, few smokers realize cannabis is often contaminated with pesticides, mold, heavy metals and chemical toxins. While there are some prosecutors who have already come out and said they won't aggressively pursue pot use where it is legal via state law, like Colorado, you can be sure that others will, perhaps in a bid to curry favor with the boss. But even some Republicans who are generally more law and order oriented than Democrats are shaking their heads at Sessions' decision. That would include Senators Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, who called Sessions' policy change disruptive and regrettable, and Senator Cory Gardner, who represents Colorado, one of 8 states that have legalized marijuana for recreational use, the AP noted. He said Sessions promised him before being confirmed to his attorney general post that he would not pursue a change to the Obama-era policy. As a candidate, Trump said pot use and legalizations should be left up to the states, and that's exactly the right position to take. But the problem is, recreational pot use remains against federal law, and Obama, the constitutional law professor, darned well knew that. So the remedy is for Congress to send Trump legislation making recreational pot use a state choice. That will solve the problem. Meantime, Sessions is allowing the deep state to pursue a witch hunt probe against his boss while allowing Hillary and company to continue breathing free air. That's just unforgivable. By declaring war on legalized cannabis, Jeff Sessions demonstrates once and for all that he is hopelessly out of touch with America and incapable of focusing on the far greater priorities of investigating Uranium One and FBI corruption, said Mike Adams, editor and founder of Natural News. It's time for Sessions to step down.
This has been the Trump Breaking News Network. Please subscribe and share to stay up to date on the latest news about our president. Be informed.